All right, we made it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited for this because obviously with it coming down to the last second, it's like, oh crap, we're gonna have to forfeit. And again, nothing against the other series by any means. It's just you put these two series out there in a poll, and I'm sure at least 95% would say they want to see this one. I mean,
there's that. I mean, there's the issue of this is probably maybe going to be the more exciting game and the more fun game to watch, but. Also, we did advertise this one, so I was hoping to show this to everybody because I know that people were wanting to watch Complexity and Domain of Pain play. So I'm happy that they did push back the time just a little bit because of Domain of Pain being so flexible and helping out with a schedule and playing when they could. So I know it was very early, especially for Cheese Helmet or Heimer, a.k.a. Heimer.
Is he West Coast?
He's West Coast, so 6
he was
a.m.
waking up 6, 7 a.m.
And
in the morning.
I was up very late with him last night. That sounded
You
wrong.
keep it
That
up,
sounded wrong.
Trout.
Wait.
Hey, Trout, you all right. Well, you said it. Okay. We do see the locking stage. It is taking place right here. So let's actually go ahead and look over what we're dealing with so far. Unfortunately, I joined a little bit late. I don't know if you have the blind bands on your screen.
Yes,
actually,
I do.
but
Magmus Ophelia banned out from Domain of Pain.
Okay.
And Tundra Parasite banned out from Complexity.
Magmus, huh?
Yep.
Magmus, interesting. So I mean, B-Kid obviously plays a great Magmus, but I don't know. Magmus, is he blind ban worthy? You think? I mean,
absolutely.
You really think so? Okay.
Absolutely. I think Magmus is close to one of the top heroes in the game. I really do. I feel like it's so strong when you lane him with someone like an Luna or an Engineer. And in this metagame where dual lane mids are so important, having the better dual lane mid, a hero like Magmus is just so vital to that strategy.
Yeah.
So he's also amazing in team fights. He's amazing in early on engagements. He never loses his pizzazz as the game goes on because you can always build, even if you get your portal key on him and you can initiate with your level 16 ult, you can still you can still get some other build-up items like a Sheepstick Hellflower or even a Shrunken Head or what have you.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of B-Kid, making the funny points right there. Complexity, they were, I don't want to say, trash talking by any means, but they were bringing that up. They're like, wait, where's Testy? Where's Testy? Why isn't he here? I know, obviously, when do you think of popular, personalities in the scene, especially when it comes to streamers? Obviously, you got Moon Meander and you got Testy. It's really the top two, I think you can safely say, kind of being up there. And they each got their fan base and they like to battle it out. So it is unfortunate. You see a matchup like this, you're like, oh, here we go. We got Testy versus Moon Meander. We got Complexity versus Domain of Pain. Unfortunately, Angry Testy not able to make it for whatever reason. I'm not gonna really go much further into that. I mean, just simply put, he wasn't able to make it. I'll let you decide, what the reasons are, whatever. But anyways, the locking pool, we got Cthulhu Font locked right off the bat from Domain of Pain, Bubbles, Tempest to follow, Fade, Keeper of the Forest, and then Engineer, actually the final lock. But Emperor, man, he loves his elephant.
He does, and that's where I differ. I'm not a big fan of the hero, but what can you do? I mean, he actually does play it pretty well. He has an idea, he has a strategy when he does execute it, and he usually actually executes it quite well. I just think even if he's getting ganks and being aggressive early on, that's fantastic. I think as the game progresses, especially if you're running Cthulhu Font in a more ganky kind of role, he just seems to fall off and doesn't really do anything in the mid to late game. That's my beef with him.
Yeah.
At least with that hero. Anyway, the bans have finished. We got Wild Soul, War Beast, Pebbles, the Dark Lady, Silhouette, and then Trachonis. So lots of hard carries banned outright. Of course, Mage Bane is still available. Fade is in that lock pool, and Domain of Pain is first pick here.
Why is it the Dark Lady? Why is it the? I've never really understood that. I mean, I guess it's kind of describing a lady.
I think it makes it a little unique. I like it.
That's true. But why not the Pebbles, the War Beast? Stuff like that. Anyways, Luna is going to be the first pick coming out here from Domain of Pain.
Well, it would be the Pebble.
The Pebble. That's true. Luna the first pick. Moraxis Wretched Hag, the quick response actually coming out from Complexity. Again, Haxron has been playing a lot of Hag lately, so very possible we could see that coming out here for Complexity. B-Kid playing Moraxis. Strong start for them. Again, though, Domain of Pain valuing the Luna with that first pick there.
Yeah, see, Complexity just had it down. They already have their solo short. This is the thing, though. Complexity, they pick very strong, but I have to say they're pretty predictable. They're going to probably pick Glacius next time. And then they're going to pick, since they know that DoP is probably going to take Fade to lane with that Luna mid, they're going to get Bubbles, and then they're going to get whatever jungler that they want. Probably, in this case, probably Tempest. Or they can switch it around. If they do go Fade, you can also go Tempest Keeper. And that would be ridiculously strong. And maybe Domain of Pain already knows that they're going to go Suicide Keeper if they do decide to pick up their Fade first. and they have Soul Reaper, which I think is very strong against Keeper of the Forest. It's just a matter of what Complexity decides to do, but already Complexity is in a better spot, just assuming that Demand of Pain is going to pick up Fade first. But Kinesis is probably going to be that suicide roll.
Yeah, and, well, there's no... Nymphora, Glacius, really between those two. They decided to go with Nymphora.
Yeah, Nymphora is good in the mid to late game, but I think Glacius is a much stronger laner. But we'll have to wait and see how they do it. But I'm expecting Fade here. I mean, you usually don't want to lock Fade unless you have the intention of picking her. But especially when you have already your suicide. Like, you could pick Keeper, I guess, but then you're going to run them jungle, and then your lanes are just going to be very kind of weird. But yeah, there's the Fade. It's going to be Fade, Luna mid, Kinesis top, and then probably Tempest in the jungle. But it's not going to be because they're going to pick Tempest. I saw that coming from a mile away. It's going to be Cthulhu because that's what
Emperor does. And there you go. He really loves his elephant. So in the end, they do get their elephant. But, man, I'm looking over here at DoP's lineup. Talk about it. Just a unique style of lineup, man. Now, we did happen to catch a glimpse of the final game against Q Squad in the winners bracket semifinals that Domina played just a couple hours ago, or even an hour ago. And they were running both Cthulhu Font and Soul Reaper even, actually.
Right.
So even Soul Reaper is a hero. We saw even earlier in the tournament, Angry Testy played Soul Reaper. This time, Cheese Helmet, a.k.a. Heimer, you might know him as. He's a streamer, of course, for HoN. He's actually going to play the Soul Reaper role this time. Jeppins, of course, on that Kinesis. But yeah, again, this really screams unique lineup to me where you go over to Complexity. It's, once again, the typical Complexity style lineup here.
Yeah, and they just have a lot of team fight. Like, Hag versus Keeper, very, very strong. Keeper plus Tempest, that's lots of push plus AoE synergy. And, yeah, it's just a cookie-cutter lineup. I would say the only thing that I would prefer to see is a Glacius over Nymphora. I know Nymphora is fantastic. You can roam around. It's a very, very strong hero. But I don't think in this lineup, especially with lots of push from Keeper and Tempest, that you really need to use that ultimate that much. But I just think that if you're trying to win the lane mid, I think Nymphora is maybe not the best decision. I think Glacius is just a little bit stronger, but that's nitpicking. Yeah. And they have a very, very solid lineup. Anytime that you can get both Keeper and Tempest on your team, you're in a fantastic spot.
You're doing something right, yeah, definitely. Jeppins here, again, he's obviously tagged up TT Esports, so to clarify that real quickly. Of course, he's actually currently in Sweden. He is going to be playing for TT Esports at DreamHack Winter, in case you weren't aware yet. Riser, unfortunately, not able to make it. He's going to take his place, but hold that thought for a second. A lot of action going to be happening right here. Zeal stun happening from Nymphora, but Domain of Pain does have a bit of aggressive play themselves coming out right here. In the end, actually, Complexity is going to be the one that spreads out and falls back. So it looked like we could have had another early engagement going from one game to the next. But in the end, both teams fall back, and we'll go into the laning phase now. But Jeppins playing this Kinesis, so if it's any other team, we'd sit here and be saying, Kinesis, wow, that's something different. But it's Jeppins playing Kinesis. We've seen this before several times, and he does it so well. And as you said, and as we see right here, he's going to be playing in that suicide role, and he does it very effectively. So once again, I'm looking forward to seeing how Jeppins does here.
Yeah, I am too. And actually, straight up, I really do think that Kinesis versus Hag, Kinesis should win. Now, I don't know Kinesis that much. I've very, very rarely played him. In fact, I played him for the first time last night. And so I don't really know him that well. But I just know that seeing his abilities, I feel like he should have fared very well against Hag. I think he does a little bit more auto attack damage as well. So mid matchup, Aluna and Fade versus Meraxes and Nymphora. I give the edge to Aluna Fade. I think it's a little bit stronger. But it's still quite even, though, because if someone gets caught out from the Nymphora stun coming out, actually, it doesn't really connect. And then finally, bottom lane, Soul Reaper versus Keeper of the Forest. I think Soul Reaper should definitely win. Unfortunately, Cheese Helmet or Heimer. Oh, there he has his aura. I prefer to see the aura just even level 1 because I don't really like using... It forces me not to use that level 1 heal spam, which costs so much mana early on. Yeah. And doesn't really do anything at level 1. But.
Well, it was actually interesting because, as usual, we saw Keeper of the Forest using the Tree Dogs to pull the creep around and make things difficult. But Soul Reaper, he actually tanked the creep wave before the tower. That's what got him so low, though. He actually dropped to even below half-life there for a second, so he actually got the heal, healed himself up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But the really unfortunate thing is that he ended up going in tower range in the end. So he took like half-life, and then the tower was still beating on the creep wave. And so it was really the worst of both worlds right there. So as we see right here, I mean, the lane is definitely pushed back in favor of Keeper of the Forest now, and he's able to leech some experience and to get some frequent creep kills. But in the end, Soul Reaper, as we talked about yesterday, and we see here, Soul Reaper should definitely win this matchup. So we'll see how Cheeseheimer picks up, or Cheeseheimer, Cheese Helmet picks up from here. as he does go to level 2 heal, hitting level 3. So.
Yeah, and I'm actually interested as to why Moon actually doesn't have his shield. He doesn't have a shield to mitigate a lot of that damage. He's missing actually a number of last hits there as keeper, and he still has that hatchet. But looks like he might actually go over here. I would expect him to buy that shield. He said, "Yep, he bought that shield." So he's going to mitigate a lot more of that auto attack damage coming out from Soul Reaper. But still, Cheeseheimer doing a good job down here. 10-2 versus a 5-0 Keeper of the Forest.
Yeah. Yeah, we do see the middle lane, though. You got your Luna, Fade. Of course, Cthulhuphon actually here as well. He currently has an Invisible Rune activated. But Nim4 is playing fairly passive. We don't have a vote to pause. But look at Franz. He places a Revelation down. They are very, very aware that Cthulhuphon picked up that Invis Rune. And they were hoping to maybe spot him or maybe even do a counter ward at the same time. But as you can see, neither one's really going to happen. Cthulhuphon's just going back into his own jungle. And he'll continue to farm down there. But that's the type of Cthulhuphon Emperor loves to play. I mean, we really don't see this hero anymore on the competitive scene other than Emperor picking it up for Domain of Pain. And he plays it very aggressive in the sense he's constantly moving around. He spends some time in the jungle, but he'll set up a lot of ganks. So, and it's very fun to watch because later on, he eventually gets items like Insanitarius, Elder Parasite even, and becomes even a damage dealer threat in those team fights. So, yeah, definitely entertaining.
Yeah, definitely. Good job by Franzi. I mean, buying that Word of Revelation right away. The rune was picked up just 37 seconds ago, and bam, it's already placed in mid. So that's a very, very fast response coming out from him. He could still potentially gank mid because he can still stand in a spot that's like maybe above it if he goes all the way around. But that's kind of risky because do you really want to invest that much time to maybe get a kill? If you don't, then you're pretty much wasting so much farm. And the thing is, right now, you simply have to compare farm from jungles because he is playing as a jungle. So how effective is his jungle farm going to be compared to a Tempest, who is now 13-0 with his creep farm, 281 gold per minute. So this is why I don't like Cthulhuphon, because as a roamer, I think he's maybe okay. As a farmer, I think he's terrible. But even as a ganker and a roamer, actually in the meantime, it looks like Jepin is going to be caught out. He's in a little bit of trouble trying to use those spams, telekinetic control. That's hard to say. Yeah. But he will be fine in the end.
Yeah, telekinetic lift, telekinetic launch. Yeah, it's telekinetic. Just not a fun word to say exactly very quickly like that on the fly. But yeah, I mean, in a sense, you could. I know this is maybe a little bit of a stretch, but in a sense, you can say Cthulhuphon is a parasite, just not as good in any of the roles, really. I mean, he's not as good of a ganker. He's not as good of a jungler in the long run. Obviously, they are completely different heroes in the sense that he's a massive tank when as going in the mid to late game, but. As far as the early game presence goes, I guess, just not as effective. But hey,
I was talking with Bryce or Emperor about this last night, and I think the biggest issue with him is that if you, that's exactly who I compare him to, is like just a not as good parasite. And the reason why I don't think he's as good is parasite's damage is 100% guaranteed. If you're 6, you face hug, you leech. That is guaranteed damage. It's also slow, which means you're going to be doing more auto-attacking damage that's guaranteed. Cthulhuphon, it's all hit or miss. Like, there's no guaranteed damage right there. And quite frankly, I think his charge is easy to dodge. Yeah. So that's my beef with Cthulhuphon.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more predictable stunts in the game for sure. We do see him, though. He was trying to protect the bottom rune, but luckily for Beacon, it spawned top, and he bottled up the illusion rune up there, so that's going to be good for him, of course. And speaking of Beacon, let's see how he's doing. He's 12-5 against a 22-4 Fade, so Fade is actually dominating here in the middle lane when you really look at it. In fact, you're going to go in right there with the coL on top of the Burning Shadows. Port coming in by somebody here for Complexity. It's going to be Tempest, actually. They were trying to set up maybe a counter right there, but not enough initiation from the Legion team. And he just goes right back to the jungle, so almost a wasted TP there coming out from Chessie, actually. In fact, Fade is now diving big time, trying to set up that kill. Not going to happen, though, as they fall back just enough. As Fade, man, Enzo not afraid to go very aggressive here.
Yeah, they're winning this lane, and I'm happy to see that. This is a lane that should be winning, and they're doing it well. Moraxis only 12 CS. Oh, and here comes Tempest. He actually comes back. Fade might be in trouble. Good Burning Shadow stun coming out from Enzo. Really good job. Actually, here's Cthulhuphon. He does TP in. Will this be enough onto Tempest? His stuns are down. Couple more auto attacks. One more! Yes. And Emperor does get it, so fantastic response coming out from Domain of Pain.
Cthulhuphon OP! No.
No, it's just Emperor.
No, that's true. Very good point. No, that was a very, very good counter response there coming out from Emperor specifically.
Absolutely.
For Domain of Pain. I mean, that was a beautiful line stun there on Tempest. He thought that he was going to be the aggressor. Got turned around on just barely the final auto attack close enough to finish him off. So yeah, Bloodlust kill coming out here for Domain of Pain, and definitely with that, I'm sure they're feeling pretty good. And you pull up the gold per minute chart, man. This is not Complexity like. Look at that.
Yep.
Complexity doesn't have a single player over 200 gold per minute currently. Chessie barely hitting 200 gold per minute. What is going on right now?
Well, okay, you have your Suicide winning against Hag because Kinesis, in my opinion, beats Hag. It's not by a large margin. He's 21-12 compared to 16-3. He has a lot more denies on him and some more CS, so he's winning that lane. The only thing that you don't have winning for you is jungle versus jungle, Tempest versus Cthulhu. Tempest, but then again, with that death right there, that sends him way far back. Now, Kinesis might get gone here, the stun coming out, but it's going to be another failed gank, and this is what I hate to see from Tempest players. I mean, it's a good idea from Chessie to try to get ganks, but if you have to secure those ganks, you have to make those 100% like they're going to work. Otherwise, you just lose so much farm, and as a result, Chessie has massively dropped off in farm. And he's only level 5, 21 creep kills right now. And that's just not where you want to be on a Tempest. But then you look at the mid matchup, they should be winning that. So they're winning mid, they won top. The jungle's now even because Tempest has tried to gank several times and failed and also died. And then bottom, you have Soul Reaper winning that lane. So you're basically winning everything. They're winning all your lanes, and as a result, they're up 2,000 gold and 1,000 experience.
Yeah, now if this was a Complexity, I would be a lot more worried, to say the least. But it is Complexity, and even as we saw yesterday against Lion, I believe it was, I mean, this is a team that, as rare as it is, I mean, when they do happen to be behind, they can still come back. And again, another great stat, I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but I'm fairly certain Complexity has not lost a series in something like 3 months at least, if not longer. I mean, it really has been a ridiculous streak. I mean, sure, yeah, they forfeited the first round in 1,024. I don't count that as a legitimate loss, to say the least. So, yeah, so here they are. You know, again, it's been such a long time since they've lost a series, let alone they've lost very few games even when you think about it. So, this is definitely a dominating team right now on the competitive HoN scene. But no doubt they're down here early on against Domain of Pain. So Domain of Pain making a good statement, and as you said, that in a sense they're really just winning everything, all the lanes and even the jungle. Cthulhu, speaking of him, I mean his gold per minute isn't anything too impressive. He's 220 gold per minute, but it's actually it's even right now with Tempest, which you would think shouldn't be the case. Heimer down here actually on Soul Reaper. I mean, he is having just a very good time. It seems like Keeper of the Forest has even given up as far as being in the lane, and that goes back to what you talked about. Soul Reaper dominates a Keeper to an extent.
He does, man. I've been saying this for a while. And especially when Keeper of the Forest has gotten so popular, I was thinking, like, what can beat him? What can do well? And it's definitely Soul Reaper. Fade bought his Ghost Marchers. It looks like he was roaming towards the bottom rune. Did he pick it up? No, it's actually... Oh, was it bottoms? Who got it?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I think it was picked up by Franzi. Maybe the transfer bottles. The Beacon has a double damage in the transfer bottle. But yeah, anyway, Keeper is just exclusively jungling right now. He can't do anything against Heimer. Or I'm just going to call him Heimer because that's what I know him as.
Exactly
that's Cheese Helmet. But yeah, I just like the name Heimer better. I think it's cooler. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he's doing a fantastic job down here. 51 CS and 25 denies. And he is going up and leveling his Inhuman Nature. I think that's fantastic. And yeah, things are looking pretty good overall for Domain of Pain right now.
Top lane, this is going to be, they need to be very careful. The Fate is going to open. Look at that. Oh, the jump away from Wretched Hag. What reaction on her part. You see Kinesis, everything that's coming out right there. Fate's going to get gone on though. The root comes out. The Tempest ultimate pulling and Kinesis. A Bat Blast on top of that. And Jeppins will fall. She never used all those trees that were in the air. Very curious about that. Cthulhu charges in. Obliterate activated. Emperor going balls to the wall. One more auto attack. No, Tempest goes the other direction. Catches Emperor off guard. Now Emperor's in a lot of trouble. Zeal's still going to hit him. He does not have mana for a charge away. He has Power Supply coming up. Not going to matter, though. He will fall. All of a sudden, a hat trick coming out for Haxor. And not the prettiest of execution there coming out from Domain of Pain.
I have to say, yeah, it's not the greatest execution. I kind of blame just a little bit in Jeppins, just simply because Fade was going up there, and Jeppins was showing aggression for no reason, and actually gave away that Fade was ganking Wretched Hag. Had he just played a little bit more passive, I don't think Haxor would have had an idea. Maybe they knew that Fade was still off the map, but he wasn't 100% sure that Fade was top, and I think that definitely gave it away. And then as a result, Fade did open, but he wasn't able to get the stun, and that totally changed everything.
Yeah, but that is to the point of as well. Again, obviously. It probably should have worked. You never expect somebody to react that quickly, but you could also argue that Fade should have simply just opened with the Burning Shadows right there, because Kinesis does so much burst damage. It more than likely would have been the kill without his initial auto attack from Invis. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely. You are right, though. Obviously, playing a little bit too aggressive early on, perhaps sent some red flags to Haxor right there. and allowed him to fall back in time. So in the end, though, a hat trick coming out there for Haxor, and now talk about a big turnaround. soL Reaper at the bottom lane, he actually took a little bit of counter pressure from Keeper, but he did push the tower, and all of a sudden, man, 402 gold per minute. He's going to the side shop right here. Not going to buy anything, though. He has 2,500 gold saved up, though. Jeez.
I mean, yeah, he's doing well. This is how badly Domain of Pain, or how great they won their lanes. Even with that hat trick, they're still up 2,300 gold. That's huge. You just gave him a hat trick. You just gave Haxor a hat trick. And simply because Jeppins' farm is amazing. He's 47 and 23. He is up in the top lane, and actually Tempest might go around here. He's in a lot of trouble. This is not good. Jeppins may fall actually right here. He's using that telekinetic control to do a lot of damage to Wretched Hag. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so. There he goes to use it a little bit more, but it's just not simply going to be enough. Was that his ultimate?
If he got it off, yes, it was the mass control. If that hit him, he would have got the kill, but he wasn't able to use it in time. The stuns were just a little bit too powerful, so...
You cannot have that happening, especially with Tempest and having that top tower still there. You know that's a focal point for Complexity and having a Tempest. And you know they're going to push that soon. So, you know, the only place that Tempest could really be is probably still in this jungle wanting to gank you. Yeah. So, yeah, he just simply did not need to be up there that far.
soL Reaper going first item, Astrolabe, actually. On top of that, he has a Mystic Vestments picked up, so very solid item choice. I mean, again, especially on a hero that already can spam heals, that on top of an Astrolabe can be a very, very powerful combo. I mean, when you think about it, it's a burst heal of 280, 130 plus the Astrolabe, which is, of course, 200. So you're looking at 330 life heal burst and an AoE presence. So very powerful combination right there. Cthulhu charging in. There's going to be a rev counter on in favor of the Legion team right there, but they're somewhat grouping up here in the middle lane. In fact, they're trying to catch Keeper the Force off to the side over here. This is a big pursuit. Is it worth it? Are they going to actually get the kill? Root coming out from Moon Meander. There he goes with the Invis, trying to make him get away, and he will get away. And a Tempest ultimate coming out. The ultimate from soL Reaper used to cancel it. That's not what you want to do. Cthulhu a great charge right there. The Obliterate activated, and Keeper the Force will actually fall. Cthulhu will fall as well. Ends up being a 1-for-1 in that sense. Bat Blast hitting multiple heroes. Pretty well played by Haxor right there. Button and forward going down. soL Reaper just a little bit too strong as Moraxis and Wretched Hag now falling back from one another. Wretched Hag will blink, and she will survive as well. That was interesting. Again, Demonic Execution was used on a full life Tempest to cancel the ultimate. That still worked out.
That's the only way they won that fight. I mean, they had to do that. He had 4 people in his ulti, so really fantastic job by Heimer. Playing really well this game. I'm very impressed. But yeah, some other things that are going on. Obviously, after that fight, it was looking horrible to begin with. I think he really did save them because coming into that little exchange, their position was just way too scary. Like, they're trying to pursue for way too long. They need to know when to freaking stop. It's starting to get really scary, but I mean, Tempest having every single person except for soL Reaper in that ultimate. Had soL Reaper not been there, it would have been a 4-0 wipe. Like, it would have totally 4-0 wipe. Yeah. So, good job by Heimer.
How about Heimer? I mean, a.k.a. again, Cheese Helmet. This is not a play. I don't think he has really much history on a competitive scene, does he? He really doesn't have much, if any. So, HoN Tour, you can almost say, is kind of his first experience on it. And he has played a couple of matches before, and here he is right here. I mean, he's impressive, man. This is a player that no doubt has the skill level to compete here, as he's showing here. So, absolutely,
I think his individual skill actually in Fade down here with the Burning Shadows. Do they have any dust or anything like that? He does not actually. Bryce does have dust. And Emperor will be charging this this Moon Meander here, this Moon Meander character. The stun does come out, it does connect, and Moon Meander will fall. Cheese Helmet gets credit for the kill. In the meantime, the top tower does fall to the likes of Haxor and playing that Wretched Hag, but good job keeping that dust on him. And I knew that they did exchange a tower for it, but honestly, I think that was worth it. They climbed up a little bit and experience.
Yeah. So yeah, Cheese Helmet doing fantastic here for DoP. He's level 11 right now. He's 3-0-1 currently when it comes to hero kill stats. We're going to have a pause coming out here from Complexity real quickly, so nothing too serious. They push the top tower, though, as you mentioned. And Tempest and Hag, they are still making a little bit of a push here. I doubt they're going to get a secondary tower by any means, but maybe be able to apply a little bit of pressure and force Domain of Pain to react to it. Tempest does have 1,700 gold saved up. He got a Ring of Sorcery. He has Little Red Boots still. Do you think Portal Key is going to be the option? And if so, is that the right option here?
I think Portal Key should still be the option. Yeah. I don't think there's any reason. Yeah, they have stuns, I guess. Actually, they have a lot of stuns now that I think about it. So maybe, actually, first item Shrunken Head would be fantastic. You just run in, you Shrunken Head. Obviously, if they run away, that means you're probably going to be winning the fight because they're not fighting you, they're running away. I used to think that was awful. I used to think first item Shark Head on Tempest was horrible. I'm like, how the hell do you actually get in there? And actually, the sun comes down on Meraxis. He uses that Q ability, whatever that is. Oh, and he does actually bait out the ultimate from Meraxis. So good job in that sense, I suppose. Did Jeppins use his ultimate? No, he didn't.
Q ability. I know, it's always so confusing with Kinesis. I always think his ultimate's going off, honestly.
Yeah, I have no idea.
With this W, when he spams it, it pretty much looks like his ultimate, really. So. Yeah, right there, his ultimate still off cooldown, obviously. Now the Stasis Smash, of course, being his Q ability there. That's where he throws him in the air, kind of like a Storm Spear style. But again, we've talked about this before when we have seen him play Kinesis. Stasis Smash, it's one of those abilities. Yes, it can be very powerful, but you need to be careful sometimes when using it because it will damage reduction by 50% when whichever target it's on, aggressive or defensively, they'll take 50% less damage while in the air. So say if you're about to burst somebody, your team is, all of a sudden you Stasis Smash them, you just gave them a 50% damage immunity basically. So you want to be a little bit careful with that ability, and we definitely have seen that kind of somewhat affect them. So yeah, but yeah, Jeppins is a great Kinesis player, of course, so I'm sure he's very aware of that, and it just comes down to communication from there. So
I cannot believe Fitzky is level 8. My God. He is still level 8. You compare that to Franzi, who's only level 5, so Fitzky is really, really doing well in levels. And that's going to help them out a lot. Luna with levels is fantastic. The Rune is spawned bottom, and it's going to be an illusion. Emperor will pick that up. Maybe use that to maybe try some kind of push in the mid lane. There is a ward spotting him out, as well as a sentry, or actually a ward of revelation just straight up placed there right beside the agent. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, it looks like they're all 5 going to group up here in the mid lane, maybe push this tower, maybe push the second one, but they're for sure going to get this one.
Yeah, I mean, more access is somewhere near, but not nearly worth it. I mean, there's no point for you to even try. The tower does easily fall, and the Golden Experience remain to be a slight favorite for Domain of Pain. Again, it's not like taking off by any means, but they have the favorite, 2,300 gold lead, 1,200 experience lead. Moraxis, speaking of beacon on Moraxis, he's got his early Steam Boots, Power Supply Bottle, and Mystic Vestment, so possibly that Portal Key going to be next in line for him, and especially having an M4 on the team, that it will be a very, very important pickup. Chessie did end up going Portal Key himself right after the Ring of Sorcery Little Red Booties. And Haxerin actually on Wretched Hag, farming 283 gold per minute. It has been going up, still not the most impressive again, but definitely going up here, and nearing 300 now even. He's got a Mighty Blade actually picked up, so possibly a Shrunken Head here going to be coming out for him. As far as the Legion team goes, you know, your Shaman's Headdress on Soul Reaper, Barrier, I don't want to be surprised to see that in the near future for him. Cthulhu 1,000 gold. Kinesis has 1,500 gold. He does have a major totem, though, so could be a Tablet of Command coming out from her.
Yeah, he just simply wants the Shrunken Head on Hag so that he can get away from these Fade ganks. If Fade does decide to go for a Portal Key soon, which I hope he does, and actually Fade's farm is relatively low, unfortunately. Now, I mentioned the Fitzky being level... Actually, Fitzky does snipe out Franzi right there, so good job right there. Setting up the kill was Enso. But okay, good. Enso did get another level right there, and he does need some more levels. Fade is much more effective once he hits level 11. But yeah, the Shrunken Head on Wretched Hag is simply because they have a Fade. Yeah. So that he can actually Shrunken Head right after a stun comes out from Fade, or sorry, right before. And it's just a much quicker reaction than a blink.
Oh, man. Doing triple stack Aegis over here. Sword Burst dipping very low right there, but with the Astral APO, then of course his turnaround heal as far as the damage up it as well. Just enough to make the work done. Nymphoria ports in over here, but by herself. Oh man, that is a dangerous, dangerous spot to be by yourself. And she's going to homecoming zone right away. She puts the ward aside down, she puts the rev down. Fade was running over, but she ports out. So I don't know if she meant to have somebody go with her,
no, she's just warding,
or if that was just warding. Okay, you think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She just put the wards down and TP'd out immediately. So yeah, it was just simply for warding purposes.
Well, so using the ultimate to get some fun ward spots there. And hey, you know, that is a great ward. I mean, that gives you a lot of vision around here at the top lane. And in fact, I'm pretty sure they can see, of course, fading. Now even Cthulhu Fall walking by, of course. So yeah, if they wanted to.
I think the best thing for that ward is, I think she would have preferred to actually ward right in that lane, right about where purple is, right where Fade is. But obviously with them farming that lane, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good for if someone decides to, like Wretched Hags, keep farming in the short lane. They can see possible ganks. They can see someone TP in, say it's a Fade. They can see Fade TP in, use the ultimate to rush up there. And then that way they know exactly how to counter that.
Yeah. Mighty Blade picked up by Tempest, so speaking of Shrunken Head, definitely going to be worked on for him. Hag, 1,300 gold saved up after that Mighty Blade, so still a little bit of ways off, but as you mentioned earlier, very powerful, like, especially against this Fade after she opens. Being able to use that and help turn around in fights. Granted, actually, Wretched Hag purchases an Arcana right there, so getting the Mighty Blade initially for the health only, and now going to be working on to a Health Flower, so do you like that transition?
The Hellflower is going to be good, especially against Soul Reaper. By the way, Heimer's he's still pooping out some items like every 2 seconds, and actually Fade is in a lot of trouble. All the ultimates come out. Haxorn gets credit for the kill using that Bat Blast on him. So a lot of things used for that Wretched Hag. If they actually grouped up and maybe just decided to push, I think they could do it. But we'll have to see if they're disciplined enough. They are having that push actually that they might have to fend off in the mid lane. Beacon does have his his portal key now, so now they have initiation from that as well, as well as the initiation from both Tempest and Wretched Hag.
I love seeing the Soul Screaming on Cthulhu Fun. You're like, what? That's a strength hero, but obviously that's going to be an Energizer, I'm sure, when he eventually gets there. So, and an Energizer is, honestly, I don't want to say underrated, but it is an item that we have been seeing it occasionally. It's still not considered an every game item by any means, but that's an item that can be situational. And I mean, what do you think? Does it make sense here for him to pick it up?
I think it's good against Miraxis. I think that's probably the main reason why he's picking it up.
Yeah. So
that you can't get chased away, or he can't chase you from his axes if they keep connecting. But that's probably the main reason. And it's going to be good overall for his team, I think. It's going to give his team just a little bit more strength in team fights. But it does look like they are smartly grouping up here. They know that the Tempest ultimate is on cooldown as well as the Bat Blast. So they can pretty much get a free tower out of this. Now, the only problem is they're going to be getting traded here in the mid. So Complexity, they already spot that out. They already know what they're going to do, and they already respond immediately. One TP is coming out. 2 TPs are coming out. Is it going to be able to get denied? No, it's not. So that's very, very unfortunate. They are still up top there. That's kind of scary. They kind of just left him up there. This could be really, really bad for Domain of Pain.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. We see the Stasis Smash missing right there. He went for Keeper, did not hit. Out comes the root from Keeper. And Kinesis will no doubt fall right here. Sorber trying to save him, actually. Kinesis tableting away. Will he survive? But it's also in the Mass Control coming out. Can he get it off? No, he cannot yet again. Now Soul Reaper's also going to fall. Fade jumps in. The power throw coming through, but Soul Reaper goes down. And now Fade may fall. Oh, DoP overstepping the boundaries big time. Through the bunch up in it, though. Gonna try to make something happen in terms of kills. Fade and Luna are nearby. The Obliterate activated. Wretched Hag with the Sonos down doing a lot of damage. We see Cthulhu Fall falling right there as Hag did go down. Beacon jumping in aggressively, going for Fade. Luna, though, pounding in the auto attacks and getting Miraxis to turn around. Great Zeal Stun from N4, actually. But now Luna's chasing. Grace with the Nip applied to Miraxis. He can jump back in and stun right here. Fade needs to be careful, actually. Fade's going to get jumped, and Fade will fall. And Luna gets trapped right there. Fade's going to go down, and Beacon picks up the double tap. Oh, great play coming out for Complexity. But again, I must say, Domain of Pain, they just got so tunnel vision there.
This is one of the times I don't think I'm going to say it's a great play by Complexity at all. I just think that was totally misplayed by Domain of Pain. One, TPing to deny the tower that was with 3 people, or maybe it was 2, but a lot of people, 3 people to trying to deny the tower that had so many different minions on it between Keeper and Tempest, already wasted, and leaving your teammates up there. If they TP'd, they needed to TP out too because they did not have the tower kill completely finished. It could have been denied. It could have been, and right there you saw the resistance. As a result, they died, and they were fighting a fight that they had no place in fighting. They could have just easily traded, all been fine. But as a result, now that was an 8K experience swing. That was huge. I mean, and I don't even think Complexity played that fight that fantastically. People got caught off. They were just a little too, like some people were staying way too long as well. But and then also at the very end, Beacon was just like standing right there. I have no idea why both Luna and I forget who the second person was up there, were staying. I mean, that was just
Soul Reaper.
Yeah, that was very, very obvious. I think Beacon was just even standing right there in vision. Like, okay, I'm gonna come and get you guys now. Yeah, that was just unnecessary.
Yeah, it was very silly. We did see, I mean, you made a good point. They actually still got the tower kill, but it's like, okay, you got a tower kill for a genocide. A first tower kill to get genocided, basically. So, yeah, not worth the exchange right there in the end. So, we got Domain of Pain. They are going to group up here in the middle lane and try to keep some aggression up, perhaps. They may be going over Kongor. Nope, they're going to go towards the secondary middle tower and look to go in here. Of course, Complexity, they do have some homecoming stones, and obviously with N4 as well. You always got to be weary of that, so they're going to push here somewhat. I believe I hear an N4. Nope, she's not pointing. Never mind. This tower's falling. I don't think they have invulnerability, and that's probably the big reason why Complexity's not bothering. They're going to let this fall right here. They are counter-pushing somewhat here in the top lane, but Domain of Pain will actually get the tower kill, and they'll fall back with very little to no resistance. So the gold swing, it kind of does cut down. It's getting pretty close to being the same. I mean, it is actually still 1,000 gold for Complexity, but very even. But the experience is the big thing, man. I mean, we got a 7,000 experience lead. And 4 porting somewhere with Hag, actually. Nope, just the bottom to farm, so.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing is, too, is as these as we're getting to more of that team fight stage, it looks like soL Reaper is going to finish that barrier idol, so that's good for him. That's very good for him, actually, in this team, is as we get to this more team fight stage. And there you go. The Shrunken Head is up on Tempest, and there is nothing that can counter that. Oh, actually, the soL Reaper ulti can counter that. That's about it.
Yeah.
But, like, as you stated, and actually, that's probably the thing to do. But, you know, soL Reaper, obviously a tanky hero, constantly spamming those heals.
And he's in the front line.
You want to be in the front. Yeah, you don't want to stand in the back. So it doesn't really work out.
He's not like your Plague Rider, Parasite. I mean, he wants to be in the front. So
there's only one way that you can really coordinate that, and that's have soL Reaper be in front, be really, really tanky. Kinesis is way far in back. He has to push soL Reaper out, and then soL Reaper has to ult Tempest after that, which can be done, but it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, it is. So we see right here a lot of push coming here at the bottom lane, just by Keeper of the Forest even, with the mass creep wave. Domain of Pain, they need to make a decision quickly right here. Are they going to port, and yes, at least one port coming in actually. Meanwhile, at the top side, Beacon trying to jump in right there. He's not able to stop the port actually from happening. And the Energizer are going to be activated, but soL Reaper's in a lot of trouble. Hellfire's coming out on top of the lockdown, and Cheese Helmet will fall here in the end. So again, Domain of Pain, they just get the stragglers staying behind, and they get picked off. So sure, they prevent the bottom tower from being ultimately pushed in, but that was just a solo Keeper of the Forest, and they lost a soL Reaper at top, mainly because of that. So
yeah, they're just getting kind of outplayed right now, honestly. If you're TPing back to defend, you need to let the rest of your team know, because obviously if you're TPing back, the other team sees you TPing back, and they're probably going to try to engage on you. And that's exactly what happened. And when you're a soL Reaper that doesn't have an escape mechanism, like Fade with Blink, or like a charge from Cthulhu, or like the E spell from Luna, everyone here has an escape mechanism. Even the push book on Kinesis. So soL Reaper, you have to make sure that your team is in a defensive spot.
Bottom lane, Tempest ultimate, the Bat Blast coming out, the Zeal's down on top of that, Fade is going to fall as well as Kinesis. Well played by Complexity right there. Nymphora ported in Wretched Hag. Tempest was already running down in the lane to jump in with the portal key, and we saw the end result. Meanwhile, the top lane is also going to be pushed on by Keeper and Moraxis. They're going to start falling back as soL Reaper actually ports up here and pushes the lane back out. But again, the execution started to really come together now for Complexity. And this goes back to, man, I said earlier in the game, as we always say, if Complexity, they seem to start to get a little bit behind early on. It's Complexity, though. And this is another just example of how, even with them slightly behind early on, it just seems to not matter in the end. I mean, they come back, they win some fights, and they start to play better and better as the game goes on, it seems like. And they're in a very comfortable spot now.
Right, and yeah, that's totally true. I mean, even if they get out-drafted, they get outplayed at the beginning, they just have the composure and experience to know how to play a game out. And they know when to gank, they know when to bait, they know what fights to fight, they know when to counter-push. And this is what gets them ultimately ahead in all of these games, even when they were down. I mean, if you have two equally skilled teams, if you had Complexity playing each other, like Mirror Match, they're playing each other, and that the Complexity A had the start that Domain of Pain did, Complexity A would win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as simple as that.
Yeah. We do see Kinesis actually coming at the last second, as well as Fade with the Invis, but they're not able to catch Complexity. Complexity gets the conquer kill, and they run on out of there. Token of Life picked up on Wretched Hag. So Hacks, I mean, again, you look at the teleport side, they don't have a hard carry necessarily. But the Legion team, you know, neither do they really. I mean, they don't have your Silhouette or your Dark Lady or anything like that. I mean, sure, soL Reaper has his own carry potential, but, I mean, hell, compared to even a Wretched Hag over here, it's, you know, they obviously a little bit different in their style, but Wretched Hag could definitely start dishing out some late-game damage. So that's not even something that DoP has kind of to lean back on. I mean, this honestly is just Complexity just having the better time right now. Wretched Hag is going to get jumped here, and actually, they may be able to get the Token of Life used. Oh, he blinks away. Yes, it will be used, though, as soon as she blinks. It went through. Kinesis coming in now with the Stasis Smash. He's going to use that telekinetic lift. Is he going to mass control as well? Yes, he will. Where's the damage to Hellfire? Look at all the trees in the air. When's Wretched Hag going to fall? Oh, Wretched Hag blinks away. She avoids the damage. The disjoint coming out. In comes the root. soL Reaper's going to fall. Red stun coming out from Finske. Great charge from Cthulhu, but will it matter? Hag is falling. Fade joining the party with the coL, and down goes Wretched Hag actually. But you see down here, Aluna's getting picked up by Moraxis, and now Cthulhu and Fade are trying to run away. Fade with the portal key at the last second. Will be fine. Wow. Wretched Hag did buy back, by the way. Insane disjoint, though. There was so much incoming damage right there, and the blink barely before it hit him.
Yeah, that was a really good job by Haxer in blinking away there like that. But I mean, you kind of had to expect that. You knew it was coming that way, and I feel like maybe Jeopard should have waited or found a new target, because having to expend that much into getting all that damage on the Wretched Hag and have it to just be disjointed, that was pretty huge. And then actually right after that, Wretched Hag turned around and got the back blast off. So again, another great fight by Complexity. And I will say in general, their team fight is fantastic. It's gotten to that stage of the game where they actually can team fight effectively with the ultimates from Keeper, Tempest, Wretched Hag, and then, you know, Beacon right in their face being that Initiator with that Hellflower. Yeah, their team fight's ridiculous. Still, though, early on, Domain of Pain definitely had a lead, and having a Fade, too, with a great CS. He was winning in the CS by far. Kinesis was winning in the CS by far.
They won all three lanes.
They won all 3 lanes, plus they ganked the Tempest, who ganked a couple times, and it failed, and got bloodlusted. So they won literally everything, but just the sheer composure and experience in teamfight from Complexity is what brought them back in this game.
And let's be honest, I mean, mistakes from Domain of Pain.
Absolutely.
They definitely had mistakes, and that's, you know, if you're going to play a team like Complexity, you have to keep that to a minimal. And that clearly wasn't the case here. So they obviously still staying in the game. This is still just game number 1 here of a best-of-3 here from the losers bracket semifinals. Of course, Domain of Pain taking on Complexity, but Complexity very comfortable spot. Now, Domain of Pain, not in a sense, they're kind of just a little bit desperate here. They're just going to group up, try to make a push happen. But as you just stated, man, I mean, Complexity's lineup, it's a very dangerous teamfight team now, if it wasn't already. And with all the items that they have that have added up, I mean, Wretched Hag and Moraxis both having a Hellflower. You have Keeper the Force and Tempest on top. It's just, it's pretty ridiculous. So they're kind of grouped up here. In fact, we see Moraxis screwed. I'm tired of waiting. It jumps into Kinesis. What the Hellflower? In comes the stop as well. Great root coming up from Keeper the Force. A miscut through the Fontaine on top of that. Moraxis with the Matrix exploding. Down goes Veda. Vote to Concede coming out. Follows up. And there's the GG well played. Complexity will take game number 1 over Domain of Pain in very deciding fashion at the very end there, at least. So,
yep.
Man, I mean, we pretty much summed it up throughout the game there, but Domain of Pain, they had their chances. They had every right to even win that game in the end, but Complexity pulls through once again.
Well, of course, yeah, I got to say, too, it was still very early on, like anything can happen. To say from the 5-minute mark, oh, we're winning our lanes, we should win this game. I mean, maybe you should, that's the mentality that you want to have, but it was still very early on. I will say that they had a great start. I wouldn't be so upset if I was in Domain of Pain's spot right now, because you know that you can outsmart them. You know that you can outlane them for sure. It's just a matter of not getting giddy, like not overextending early on. Don't take fights that are clearly not the fights that you want to take. And I think overextension is the name of the game for Domain of Pain. I really do.
I almost want to say, you know, these teams that are just on the brink of, you know, being an elite team with the best of them, and Domain of Pain is no doubt on that kind of brink. But it seems like if they start beating a team like Complexity, it's almost as if they get all like, oh my God, we're beating Complexity. Now let's make some mistakes so that doesn't happen anymore. And it seems like that keeps happening, you know, with these teams that have their chances. So again, I really just think that was just another case of that right here. But you know, Complexity. Welcome to Complexity. We see it again. They make a comeback here in game number 1, and they eventually come out on top. So it is best of 3, though. So game number 2, of course, going to be coming up shortly here. Now we're going to take a quick break as always. We are going to do our best. Killer Orange back there is going to do his best to get the audio issues figured out. We do apologize for that, guys. For whatever reason, we can't figure it out just yet. But he's going to look into it and try to get that fixed. And hopefully, going into game number 2, we will be good. So until then, guys, stay tuned. We have game number 2, Domain of Pain, taking on Complexity. We'll be right back.